And also the second one is talking about the food safety, healthy and consumable level of the food itself, and then talking about the sustainability, and then last but not least, talking about the efficiency and resiliency. So it's talking about cost takeout problem, right? And then if we see that the biggest problem here is actually agribusiness is a complex value chains. I have several engagement with the different industry, talking about the retail businesses and talking about with also food FMCG, and also talking with the farmer itself, because around 2 years back ago, we have 2 or 3 different engagement with the huge plantation company in Indonesia, where they're starting up building the solution in terms of the Industry 4.0 implementation for the plantation. And then also we have a chance also to work with several small initiative working with the farmer, and then see the possibility that they can enhance the use of technology for their production system, right? But when we see the trend in terms of the global and worldwide model in agriculture, at least there's 3 different industry themes, right? So again, when we're talking about the businesses, we always see about the compound annual growth. The largest compound annual growth is something that may be quite interesting to explore with, right? One is about the digital agronomy. So it's around the capital market in 2019 is talking about 9.2 billion US dollar, and then compound annual growth predicted is around 13%. It's talking about how we help the farmer, the agribusiness maker, to do the digitalization in terms of the collect, store, and analyze, and also share the electronic data or information along the agriculture value chains. This is related with the food security, food safety, and also talking on the efficiency and resiliency. Second one is about the sustainability in the term of the food system. And the third one is talking about supply chains optimization. So this is 3 different industry themes where we see and are foreseen that in the next future, this is something that need to be focused on, and it is something where the technology can help much more. So when we're talking about the focus area, this is something that what we call as the key pillars, where we as a technology company trying to develop a specific solution for our customer. The IBM vision is to drive the agribusiness revolution top-down to deliver sustainable value along the food chain. So the control point here is talking about the sustainable value along the food chains, right? By leveraging the cutting-edge technology, it aims to deliver unmatched capabilities to provide differentiated value to companies and stakeholders. So we're talking about the ecosystem, we're talking about how to improve and provide the sustainable value along the food chains. So we have 3 different pillars where we put our focus area in the digital agronomy by providing integrated data and AI platform. We're focusing on the yield improvement strategy, provide the smart input management system, and then also provide the predictive insight capability. And the second pillar that we're trying to focus on is about the sustainable food system by providing provenance, providing the track and traceability capability in order to understand how the food processing happen and then how it comes into the end user or to the retail market. And then also talking about how we create sustainable production by introducing the right amount of the methodology to calculate carbon footprint. And the third pillar is talking about the supply chains optimization. We're focusing on the enterprise resource planning transformation, because when we're talking about the huge production system, it should be supported by the right ERP composition model and composition system, so it can be optimized and it can be controlled in the term of the enterprise point of view. And then also talking about the supply chain efficiency, supply chain planning, and also talking about the use of the smart manufacturing. These 3 pillars have 3 different foundations. One is a data and AI. So we're talking about establishing data management and also machine learning capability, so we can understand what is the value from the data itself. And then the second one is talking about the connected system. So we're talking about the IoT. In the brand of the names in IBM, we call it the Watson IoT. And then we're talking about the edge computing. This is the latest technology where we're trying to pull out and push out the data from the centralized system into the distributed system, and then do the calculation in the agents platform. And then the last one is talking about the infrastructure, where we believe we're talking about the cloud technology, the hybrid cloud implementation, 5G system. It's just something that may be pushing out all the capabilities in the future. And the solution consists of reference architecture as follows. Right? So on the bottom one, we have the consistent approach in the infrastructure point of view, where we promote the use of the multi-cloud, or we call it the hybrid cloud, where there is a limitless resources to do the complex computation. And then also talking about the blockchain technology, also talking about the OpenSea for the container technology, and also our system platform. And then in the data layer, we're talking about the capability from our weather company data. So we have separate company that providing the prediction model for the weather, including the forecast, historical, and also the seasonal data. And then we have pairs, the solution for the satellite geospatial data. This is something quite interesting that we will showing you the demo, of course. And then also talking about integrate with the sensor and the enterprise and the sectional data. And then after that, we have the digital solution component, which is comprised of the Watson Decision Platform Agriculture. This is basically provide the consistent platform that helping the farmer, providing the farmer advisory, yield improvement strategy, and also talking about the input optimization, leveraging the data and AI technology. And then also we have the crop forecast regional level system. And then we have the crop optimizer. We have IBM Food Trust to control the traceability on the food chain. And then also talking about the demand forecast related to the how we understand the consumer behavior, or we call it as a consumer insight. And then on top of it, we have this predefined agri models, talking about the various model of the crop models, like the coffee, cacao, sugar, palm oil, and many more. And then at the end, all this value proposition is can be implemented in the food cycle value chains. Right? And then if we see in the details, what is actually the Watson Decision Platform, and then what we can learn from here is basically it's a very important for us to understand when we implement such a system in the large environment and a very many different variable environment. It's a very important for us to create the platform. Basically, the platform is something quite flexible for us to develop something with, and then make us can innovate and also adapt with the specific environment and also specific challenge that we have. So for example, we have like the weather data that can be connected through the open API. So there is no vendor locking, everyone can connect, everyone can use the technology on top of it. And then we can also develop crop forecast by leveraging a different data set. We can create the, again, because we're talking about the platform, you can deploy many different models. And then for the example here, we can do the data ingestion, and then we can do the prediction model. So we can understand about the total revenue uplift by the farm model. We can understand about how many number of the consumption, and then many things we can predict in the future, right? Same here also talking about the crop optimizer. And then this is something, the same model, same platform that we can customize based on the specific crop, the specific area, specific point of interest. But basically, we're trying to help the farmer or the decision maker or the key stakeholder to understand what is the key trends, what is the behavior of the specific agriculture product, and then how we can mitigate the risk because we understand what will happen in the future. So that's the kind of the solution we're trying to offer in the term of the data platform that we can access and also can share through the different platform like the mobile application, web, and many different things. And then also we develop something that quite simple. This is something that helping the farmer to understand about the soil quality. And then we develop such an expert system to help farmer to ensure and understand about what is the key activities need to be done in order to maximize their yield production, right? I have this video. Let's see in this video.
Chemical analysis today is very complex and time-consuming. The IBM AgroPad is paper-based analysis for agriculture. You deposit a liquid on the card, just a droplet of the sample, can be water, can be a soil extract. And then you flip the card around. You essentially use a smartphone application to take a snapshot.
So when you plant corn or tomatoes, there is always what we call the genetic potential, how much you can produce in that parcel of land. So what we want to do is to provide a simple device that they can test the soil and that then they can correct the soil to maximize the production of what they want to produce.
Okay, so that's what we call IBM AgroPad. This is a quite simple technology. Basically, the idea is we use the capillary force in the paper in order to understand and also detect 5 chemical parameters, which is something that's very important for the farming process. And then also low production cost, of course, because this is only paper. And then this doesn't contain electric component. So basically, it's only paper, right? And then this is the layout. Basically, you can print in any different paper type. But the key component here is something that patent from IBM. But I believe this is something that can give you an idea about what we have done so far. So what we do is actually we provide the QR code in here to record the position or something that related to the metadata. It can be the potential program from the government. It can be anything like a metadata for a specific area. And then after the farmer put those certain of the sample here, we use the AI machine technology to do the detect region of interest. And then we take the specific circle here as a represent about the some of the RGB projection color. And then we extract the colorimetric from this parameter. And then we do the calibration through the AI model or machine learning here. And then at the end, we will provide all these 5 different composition of the chemical that is required by farmer to understand. And then beyond that, actually, we combine with the expert system that providing the insight and also what kind of the crop, what kind of the activities and the treatment need to be done in order to maximize the specific crop type. So this is quite helpful. This is not really something expensive. You can leverage the smartphone. You just need a paper, and then you just need to embed with the specific connection to our services, right? And then we use some kind of the technology related to the cloud platform. We leverage the Python technology for data processing. We're using the unstructured data, for example, the big data, Clouden, and then we're using the API Connect for the data integration, also communication between the smartphone and the backend system. And then at the end, of course, if you see from the bigger view, is actually you can take all the sample data across Indonesia, and then you can collect in a very simple method to understand about the soil condition across island in Indonesia. There's something possible implementation in our country. And then related with the food trust technology, we do all the implementation here. This is already live implementation with Walmart. Basically, we conduct technology, food traceability, track and trace capability over the blockchain technology. So this is quite a complex system, distributed system, but it will give a beneficiary to all stakeholders to understand about what is happening in their food, and then when, where, and then also what kind of the food quality in this particular area, right? So why this is very important, I believe everyone remember about the case in the term of the canned fish quality issue in 2018. Actually, there's only 27 brands impacted tainted by worms. This is the BP POM release press release, right? But what happened, because there is no control environment at that time, and I believe still until today. So what happened in the market? There's something massively happened for all canned fish outside of this 27 brand. It's already impacted. No one willing to pay for the canned fish for a long time. I believe it took around 7 months or 8 months until the market ready to accept the new production batch, and then they believe this is something that safe enough for them to consume, right? So the idea that we're trying to do is actually we develop the technology that combining all the farmer information, the tracking system, the warehousing system, even to the retail subsystem, so they can track and trace. And if there is a barcode in the mango here, we can scan this barcode, and then automatically we can understand where's the this mango farmed, and then how long it already take by tracking system, where is the batch, where is the position in the warehouse, how long it will take in the warehouse, and then how fresh the condition when these mangoes are consumed, right? So this is quite simple things, but believe us, this is a big problem for many different countries when they're talking about the food quality assurance in terms of the traceability. So for the example here, this is the typical manual mixed digital paper-based methodology when we trying to do the trace and traceability for the specific product, right? It took 6 days, 18 hours, and 26 minutes. But when they implement this, it's changed into 2.2 seconds per component product. So this is quite massive reduction in terms of the customer experience, and also in terms of the data processing concept. And then we can leverage this model on not only for the track and traceability, but also we use this model to do the recall. So when we're talking about the recall process, this is something very important for the businesses. You need to have right strategy to do the recall process. If not, you lose a lot of money there. So you can imagine that if we can provide the specific information based on the specific UPC patch in the term of the product, you can see how many number of store, how many number of distribution, where is the warehouse, and then if there's kind of the recall process, you can take on the specific batch, and then it can save a lot in terms of the production and also the revenue and benefit from your own product. And then of course we can combine with the certificate management. So you can imagine that every farmer will hold a specific certificate for them in order to produce and also to meet specific requirement and the food quality measurement in a specific product. So using this technology, we can assure the certificate is clearly maintenance, and also when we do the trace and recall, this is something that can be execute very well without any waste in the environment and the production system. And then related to the technology in the weather perspective, right? This is something that also quite interesting, because when we're talking about the weather, at the very beginning, this is something actually huge data, and that it's impacting a lot in terms of the how agriculture business are done, and also how the supply chain itself operate. When we have clarity in terms of the what happened in the past, what happened in the current, and also what will happen in the future, this is something that can help you to make the right strategy, and then also to make the right decision on how you operate in the future. And then what we do is actually we build the model, what we call the global high resolution weather forecasting or graph system. And then this model is actually we can create the accuracy up to 3 kilometers over land globally. And then we have 5-minute time step versus hourly. So this is a huge, massive computing process and also the model. So we can improve the accuracy on the weather prediction system, right? And then we embed this into the pair system. And then this pair system is actually something that related with the a massive big data platform to collect all the Landsat image, to collect all the satellite image. So you can do the query and then also the data processing over this platform. So you can imagine that you have the different Landsat data, you have the temporal data related to the spatial information. It's already curated, it's already standardized. So you can query based on the specific longitude and latitude, and also you can select specific a fragment of data, and then you can leverage this data for the analysis, and you make decision based on this analysis result.
Started.
Okay. And then if you need to enhance the specific information in terms of the spatial information, you can combine with the more accurate in data spatial. You can take it from the using the for example using the specific LiDAR information. You can using the drone, or maybe using the any vehicle to take aerial image, and then you can stitch the data and then combine with our satellite data. So you can get a higher resolution of the information, and then you can leverage and get the most accurate information to produce and also to examine. Right? And then you also can combine the weather company data using the automatic weather station. You can leverage the internet connectivity and then connect with our system. So you can send your data locally, and then it will improve the accuracy in terms of the weather data point. And then you can leverage our platform to create the physical model of your crop, and then create the statistical model, conduct the data assimilation, and then you can do the optimization. So you can understand what is the weather impact, and then how you can mitigate the risk in the future with this particular information. And then this is something that we already done around 3 years back ago. This is what we call the variable rate irrigation. So basically, this is the case when we do control, a microcontrol in the irrigation system in the vineyard system. So you can imagine the vineyard is a very huge acre land of the production. We combine the technology with the IoT and the satellite. So we see that the condition of the NFVI or the satellite imaging before the irrigation, before the variable rate irrigation, and then after the variable rate irrigation. You can see that the NDVI index value is now changes from the yellow, orange part into the more green, and then also the blue part. It means that the number of the water deposit is much more homogeneous, and then it will provide the best environment for the vine to grow, right? And then what we do is actually we create a specific model, and then we create the grid over the 15 meters, and then we create 140 independent irrigation zone, and then we do the control using the sensor, and then using the technology through the mode technology, and then we combine with the large area IR imaging, and then we trying to make the microcontroller when and also how much amount of the water need to be irrigated in the specific area. So at the end, the result is quite interesting. And then when we improve the NDVI index, if you can see in this presentation, there's a kind of the fine size improvement, right, in 2013 compared to 2012. And then here, this is the regression model where we see that there's improvement in yield ton per hour compared with the NDVI value. So if you see the index is getting greener and blue, and then you get the bigger number of the NDVI, and then yield a ton per acre is a very good improvement there. So yield improvement more than 20% with the 50% less water. So this is a quite interesting technology, and then you can combine and also develop and many different varieties of the crops. Right? And then something that's very important also that we already developed, and then something that we really want to share is how we build what we call the knowledge representation of the crop system or the agriculture ecosystem itself. So we built what we call as the enterprise data management system, where we're trying to segregate and create a standard glossary, reference data, taxonomy, and also the ontology model for the specific crop. The reason why we built this, we're trying to develop the huge and also the consistent model and the knowledge representation model. So if there's a query in terms of the specific crop, specific information about the crop, it can be served consistently and it can be interchanged between different application. So for the example here, this is the presentation on the ontology model, where we can leverage the different AI model to do the query, to do the presentation for the electronic field record that we already present here. So this is all the technology that we already developed until today. There's so much more interesting project still happen right now. We're talking about how to build trusted industry process, how to reduce the carbon footprint in terms of the agriculture processes. That's something that we are trying to do until today. And then this is the key takeaways from my presentation. So basically, the global megatrend create the significant challenge for the agri industry. You can see that there's a lot of people need to be fed, and also there's a lot of string area in terms of the agriculture area, and also not much people now going to the want to have kind of the career as the farmer. So there's a quite real challenge that we have right now. And also I believe I can see in my generation also, when I graduated from Bogor University, actually, none of my network actually worked as a farmer. Most of them I met again, they work at the bank, they work at the manufacturing company, they work as an expert in many area, but not in the agriculture area. So it's a real challenge that we have right now. And the second one is use of data and AI are the keys to innovate in the agriculture. So this is very clear. When we have understanding about the data, and also we have the good quality in the data, then we can leverage AI technology to reveal the pattern, to optimize and to predict what will happen next, right? So this is very important to leverage and emphasize use of the data and AI. The third one is understanding the complex business network and reveal the highest value of the innovation is a must. So many times I met with many different scenario and also implementation in the agriculture area. Sometimes it's actually not pointing out into the right point, not necessarily because the technology barrier, but sometimes it's talking about the change management process, sometimes it's talking about the regulation. So it's very important for us to identify the right pain point, the right innovation point, so we can give and give the best benefit to our key stakeholder. And then the last but not least is about technology is designed to empower people. So please do not forget, this is talking about the people, process, and data. It's no more technology, because as we know today, the technology is something that can be commoditized. You can find out many different cloud technology. You can find out many different big data technology implementation, AI technology implementation across different vendors. So there's no technology problem anymore, but now we call it the people, process, and data. So when we're talking about the data, we already see that how we beneficial the data. And then also, it's very important for us to improve this equally. So please ensure when you implement the technology, the change management is need to be in place, and then you can consider this as a part of the triangle, people, process, and data, and it to be enhanced accordingly in equal way. That's my presentation, and back to you, to the moderator.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Panji. It was very informative. It was very interesting presentation. Okay, we have already one question in the chat column. Question is regarding with the maybe I read the question. It was it's from team webinar SV, regarding with this yield production. IBM promote technology called IBM Agro Pet IoT prototype, and have different type of corp and plan. This is we know that each corp has a different ability to absorb sunlight, water, and in Indonesia, due to mega biodiversity, have different type of topography as well. In your own perspective, are they the problems to develop the enterprise data, and what is the biggest challenge to development?
Okay, thank you so much. This is a very good question. Actually, I would like to share my experience when we do the implementation rollout in Indonesia. The question and also the statement in the question itself is very clear and is absolutely right. We have mega biodiversity. That's the key point here, right? So that's why in my key takeaways, I said that we need to choose the right point for innovation, right? So that's not necessary for us to collect all the information. So for example, in the agro-pet point of view, there's only limit into the 5 different chemists apart. We're not trying to collect different chemical ingredients because we believe in these 5 different chemical representation, it can be represent at least more than 60% of the total biodiversity. So that's the key point here. We're trying to make it not really generic, but we're trying to aim the right point for us to be collected. If you're trying to collect everything, that's something I believe that's not a good approach for doing that one, right? So when I do the implementation in one of the plantation area, they have the 1,000 area for the production, right? But we believe that we start with a specific area, which is we segregate this area is only for the nursing, and then one is for the production one. So we trying to focusing into the nursing because this is the high value area, and then we do the research in this particular area only, right? And then we do the implementation, we do the research just for this area. And then we move into the specific area for the production, but it's also only for the specific part of the area where we believe this can be represent for all the area of the production on this our customer. So that's the key point here where we need to segregate between the potential benefit and then the ideal condition. So the point here is very important for us as a researcher and also for the all the distinguished participant in this webinar. Please choose your target. That's the key point here, right? That's to answering your point how to mitigate the key point related with the mega biodiversity case, right? And then also about the building the what is name? What's the name here? Sorry, develop the enterprise data, right? Yeah. So when we're talking about the develop the enterprise data, at this moment in time, we only have 7 different crops, right? So every time we engage with the customer, we ask for their permission to collect the specific ontology information related with this particular crops. And then we create this as a public domain information. It means that if there's another engagement and then there's a similar crops, they can enrich and can leverage the same data. So again, speak your battle, do your best in that part, improve your enterprise data, and at the same time, you grow based on the different engagement. But again, the key point here, make it as a platform, make it as a generic, make it as a consistent representation. So you can make it, you can leverage the same infrastructure, the same data model in the different engagement in the different customer. So the idea is to remain the same if you want to implement in Indonesia, for example. Now you're working with the Ministry of Agriculture. Now maybe you need to data interchange with the Ministry of Industry. The enterprise data point of view is need to develop the consistent representation. So you can share the data consistently across different stakeholders, right? That's my answer. Hopefully it can answer all the question there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Panji. So, yeah, the researcher, I believe that in IBM have a lot of innovation, a lot of developing in IT support in agriculture. Yeah, but we have to check the potential, the bigger, yeah, the bigger impact to the agriculture. And the second question, how much does it cost for industry to create or to implement artificial intelligence about the satellite data, but the is it easy to get this data satellite? Maybe it connect with the triangle, people, process, and the data. Mr. Panji.
Yeah, that's a very good question also, but it's a very difficult to answer because the size of the investment is really depend on the case, right? So if you're talking about the small pilot case, sometimes people will spend around $100K or maybe less than that only to try out the technology itself. So the implementation, it can be free, but again, with the cloud technology, many different customer now doesn't need to to invest upfront. They can leverage the AI technology. You can use the IBM cloud, AWS cloud, Google. You can make a different platform there. So you can farm up the data there, and then you can develop the different scenario in terms of the technology implementation. And then if there's no such a good traction in the result, so you can decommission again all the resources and you can stop to pay, right? So again, the cloud technology gives you a new window, new perspective, new opportunity to conduct the innovation and also to implement your idea. So in terms of the how much, it's a very depend on the complexity of the implementation.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Mr. Panji. And still, four question. It's from Ms. Tonya about blockchain.
Correct.
About blockchain technology already applied to agriculture. It's not the tool that's the problem, but it's the people. What do you think?
Yes, that's a valid statement from Estonia. That's a very valid statement. So I already implement two different blockchains in Indonesia. One is for the Threadland solution, and others is something that I cannot disclose because of the NDA. But when we're talking about the blockchain technologies, basically talking about the distributed ledger, where we're trying to combine different stakeholder with the different interests, and then we can share the same structure of data among all the stakeholders. So when we're talking about the sharing of information, there is a very primary requirement need to be established, right? So we need to ensure every participant, every stakeholder in this network share the similar interests, and everyone on each of them will take the benefit from this collaboration. If there's only one or only two get the benefit, or while the rest of the ecosystem only feeding the data, believe me, it's never happened. It will not really going to live production system. I already have that kind of the failed project. There's a valid statement. It's about the people. It's not necessarily the people. It's also talking about the political wise and also talking about the change management perspective. So for one example, right? I have one use cases where one of the stakeholder is actually the key stakeholder for this infrastructure in the blockchains is a bit reluctant or hesitate to share the data because he feel that when he's open the data, it's actually he's reveal some of the businesses that they have, and that will be impacting and jeopardy their current businesses. So that's become the hard stopper for this project. And then we learn from this fail that actually it's very important to map the requirement for each participant, ensure that everyone will get the benefit from this all collaboration. And then finally, we implement the blockchains on top of these use cases. But again, please ensure everyone happy, everyone will get benefit from the implementation. That's the key. And then you're totally right. It's not just about the technology, but it's also about the people and also the process behind on the business itself.
Okay. Okay. We have the remaining 5 minutes for this discussion session, but it's still a question, Mr. Panji, from Alin Capio. Is from ISAT University Leon Campus. About scanning of code can still be detected, even faded, due to handling the parcel. Oh yeah, it's about
The code can still
code scanning.
Oh yeah, if I'm not mistaken to understand your question here, are you referring into the package or the parcel due to the deterioration of the parcel itself, right? For example, the label faded or something like that, right? So you're right. This is the key point. It's really depend on the model you're trying to collect through the IoT. In our case with Walmart, we conducted the first pilot through the isolated environment. So as you know, in the US company and the US environment, they have very high standard in terms of the packaging process and also the delivery process, right? So we have the setup of the barcode system and also in the some specific large parcel, we leverage the active RFID. So this there is no issue in the faded and packaging parcel, but it's really it depend on the situation. But using the barcode and also there's some specific condition and a treatment in the environment, it help us to control during our pilot. But you're right, there's a potential problem when we have condition, deteriorating condition the parcel. So for example, barcode is a bit faded, or maybe the serial number cannot be seen. So again, the interaction and also help from the people and from the operator is something that might be necessary. But again, learn from my experience, if you're trying to refactor every possible condition, it's very difficult for you to innovate. Sometimes you need to take leap, you need to take a fight that actually if you're trying to do this one, trying to make assumption, at least you can take around 80% of the normal or the happy flow. The rest, 20% is something the anomaly, something must be missing from your calculation. It can be improved along the time. But again, the idea that I would like to share with you all, just trying to do the the encapsulation of the problem itself, trying to do correct the assumption, trying to make the control environment, and then trying to innovate in this particular environment, and then improve by the time to mitigate some of the some of the anomaly happen in the implementation. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Maybe one last question because we have running out of time for this first discussion. This is from Satria Dwi Cahyo. So much farm in Indonesia, and some of them are in the remote area where technology is difficult to access. So how to reach and convince farmer who are in the remote using IBM?
That's also the key challenge that we have right now. I think the early moment when we start this event, also there's a problem with the connectivity, right? One of the moderator cannot connect with this webinar. That's the real fact, right? Even this happened in our central province, or maybe like the huge cities like the Bogor or maybe like the Jakarta. But it's always happened about the connectivity issue, about the coverage in terms of the technology. But learn from our engagement with one of the plantation company, which is they work in the remote area. There's always the way for us to conduct what we call the offline data collection process. So for example, if you go into the remote area, there's a time for you also to come up to the city or to the rural area, right? There's maybe some of the transmission in the phone. You get the connect, and you will be able to connect with the internet. You're able to send the data. So what we're trying to do at that time is actually conducting what we call the offline and online data synchronization. So for some of the part which is not covered by the telco company, we do the offline data collection. We leverage the smartphone, we collect the data, and once they reach the branch office, they do the data synchronization process, right? So that's something we can do also. Related with your question, how to convince the farmer to leverage this technology, it's very simple. And this is something that I learned personally when we talk with the different, not the farmer, different customer or different businesses. If you can give the benefit to them, there is no way for them to say no. So it's very important for you when you do the innovation, you understand your persona, which is the farmer itself, understand their pain point, understand how you can help them directly without hesitation. So if you say that the farmer needs information about, for example, about the soil quality, that's the pain point. At this moment in time, they need to collect the soil, take it to the lab, need to pay a certain amount of money, and then they wait until next 2 or 3 weeks to get the result. Now, the pain point is very clear. How to make it simple for them while keep maintaining the quality of the information, right? So for example, you can leverage AgroPad. It's only take it, take the soil sample, just put the water on top of it, and then put in the paper, and then take the picture into the, using the smartphone. Or even if they doesn't have the smartphone, they can go into the specific area where maybe some of the units or some of the part of the Ministry of Agriculture office there, and then they can give the paper, they take the picture, and then they connect to the internet. Within the seconds, they will get the result, right? So there's a very clear statement where you're trying to cut the total hours required to get the soil analysis result within the, maybe more than 3 days into the split of seconds. So that's a statement, and then that's the benefit reflected from your solution. And then you can convince the farmer to use your product. The biggest problem happen right now for the most of the programs that happen conducting by the government, they trying to collect information from the farmer, right? So the point here is only collecting the information without giving something more to them. So that's why many different initiatives stop, because they didn't capture the right persona, the right pain point from the persona itself. So it's a very important for us. There's a listener from us. Understand your customer, understand their persona, make the right statement, how we can help them, and how we can leverage the technology for them. Yeah.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Mr. Panji. I think it's another question is related to the blockchain and the various characters in Indonesia. Maybe you have mentioned it before because of limitation of the time for discussion, sir. But before we go to another to the next agenda, I want to welcome to Professor Iskandar Zulkarnain Siregar, the Director of SV-IPB, International Collaboration Organization. Maybe, sir, maybe you have something to Pak Iskandar? Okay, maybe. Okay, thank you, Mr. Panji, for the inspiring, for the huge information that IBM has done, and another future technology, high technology, and all the innovation and development to support agro industry. Thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Panji.
Very much happy to share again to my alma mater, and please feel free to contact me if there's another inquiry and also a question regarding the technology implementation in agriculture. Again, thank you so much for your time, and also thank you for this opportunity for us to share about our point of view. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih, Mas Panji.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sama-sama, Bapak.
Okay. The next agenda is presentation from from the presenter from Mr. Rizal Fahreza. Mr. Rizal Fahreza, maybe it is the presentation from the agriculture, and this is the agriculture. Mr. Panji said that a lot of much from IPB work in the bank, work in the manufacture, and less work in the agriculture. Maybe Mr. Rizal Fahreza, it is co-founder Eptilu Agro Edu Tourism Indonesia, young agripreneur ambassador. Mr. Rizal?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Please, the time is yours.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You can see my screen, my slide presentation?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Rector IPB University, Directors International Collaboration Office, the Dean of College of Vocational Studies, all committee short course summer course programs, and all participants, and also Mr. Panji. Today, I would like sharing my experience after more than 6 years graduate from IPB University, from Department of Agronomy and Horticulture, Faculty of Agriculture, Bogor Agriculture University. So I am trying to focus talking for agriculture, farmer regenerations, rural development, and also community development. As you see, the 55, almost 60%, the poor people Indonesia live in rural area. After graduate from Bogor Agriculture University, of course, this is my responsible to go back to my village, to my rural area for contribute for developing area in agriculture. And if we see another situation, look at I study from Boston Consulting Group that predict Indonesia in 2030 becoming a 7th largest economy in the world in terms of GDP by 3 indicators. The first is surplus productive people population. I know the all student in vocational student, the all productive people, and then second 60% middle income, and the third it's very important to transform from natural resources economic to become human capital based economy. And then in another situations, I see the data that almost 60% the farmer more than 45 years old. That's the very challenges for us to contribute in agriculture and doing in farmer regenerations. And I focus in fruit in Indonesia, especially in citrus. Why? Because I see the market opportunity. I try to share. This is the simple information. The opportunity market in Indonesia, especially in citrus, based on Ministry of Agriculture, almost 4 trillion rupiah. That is the big for us. That is opportunity in agriculture sector, especially in fruit and citrus in Indonesia. Mostly they are coming from local farmer and also coming from import in another countries. I will share another information about data of citrus. This is the Indonesia is rich in local citrus variety such as in mandarin, tangerine, pomelo, and other group. And mostly in citrus growing in farmer Indonesia almost 70,000 hectares, and production annually estimate to around 1.1 million tons, and harvesting season fall during in the period January until April in 20%, and the peak season usually in May until August, almost 60%, and then the last harvesting in September until December, average 45% is national production. In Indonesia, mostly citrus import from China, Pakistan, Thailand, and the US. Let me see. This is the fact and the reality. Almost 60% the Indonesian citrus farmers is oldest. Only me. Look at that. Only me still young. So mostly the farmers in Indonesia is oldest. In specialist in citrus. In another sector like vegetables, like greenhouse management, now still lot of young entrepreneur, but for citrus farmer or citrus plantation still rare, and that is challenges for us. And then there is the reason. So I try to become the farmer regeneration in citrus community. This is based on the reason in 2014 I doing startup agriculture in citrus companies, something like that. This is I have to share a video my activity in daily activity in the farm like this. You can hear audio.
No audio here.
Okay. It doesn't matter. I still continue. We develop with three principles in develop. The first is excellent best practice. You know, I learned basically agriculture in Bogor Agriculture University. So I try to
when you
track in the second is very important in empowering. Empowering to support and promote an agriculture is attractive sector for youth generations. The third is very important for us is collaborations. Collaboration and strategic alliance with governments, university, society, media, and others. This is my activity, daily activity. 6 years ago, still skinny and okay. This is my story, my startup company. 2014, I starting initiation from vegetables, and 2016 continues in planting fruit and trading, and 2018 I developed agrotourism. I will explain why we different business in agrotourism. Like this is 2014. Land preparation, planting chilies and tomatoes, potatoes, grading, harvesting in chilies, tomatoes, something like consent quality product for tomatoes, fundamental productions orange from nursery, maintenance, harvest, and for harvest management. This is my activity every day in the farm and arrive in the farm. So 2016, I tried to deliver product from Garut to Pangkal Pinang Island. So Garut from Jakarta 7 hours, and from Jakarta to Pangkal Pinang by sea in the ITPC Tanjung Priok port of Tanjung Priok by sea around 22 hours by sea. So this is I'm running from 2016 until now. Every week I send around 5 until 6 ton vegetables and fruit to Pangkal Pinang. Like this, marketing, application, packaging, you know, farmers still traditional, so we try to innovative packaging. Usually farmer use a plastic bag, we use to carton box like this, so more resilient and more companion for customer, something like that. And then and 2017 I opened the agro edutourism. Why? We choose to differentiate business model to agrotourism because I see the opportunity. Look at that by the data, the trend visitor people to West Java, especially to Garut, almost 2 million people. The data is 2015. Now I think almost 3 million people, the people coming to Garut every week. Annually, every week, the people for vacation, for leisure, coming to Bandung or to Garut. That's our I try to attract and get the opportunity for doing in the agrotourism sector, something like that. Here's in my agrotourism. This is the parking area, and then people coming to my farm, harvesting, something like that. And then in the weekend area, focus on for family, integrating farming with organic, veggie, rice, tomatoes, pumpkin. And then I try to open the local signature test with a restaurant, traditional restaurant nasi liwet, because that is one of the famous food for Sundanese. So I try to make a restaurant nasi liwet in the inside the orange plantation, something like that. I choose and I use the best quality of rice in Indonesia. As you know, is Garut is the one of the famous the center of producing rice in Indonesia, especially in West Java, something like that. We use the local material for make building like gazebo, like musola, something like that. Marketing strategy, we use the social media, Instagram especially. You can see in eptilu.id, my Instagram official. Another activity, meeting, birthday, gathering. I try to support international or national event like International Martial Art in Indonesia 2019, the one of host in Indonesia in Eptilu to become to host in International Martial Art with actor from movie The Raid, Iko West and the team. They try to make the action movie in my plantation, something like that. I'm sorry, the audio is not. That is the one of the strategic marketing, because the people coming, a lot of director, producer, international producer from Hollywood, especially in interest in martial art, coming to Garut, coming to Indonesia. That is one of the promote for me, for Garut, for tourism in Garut, to another people and another actors. This is the trend. People coming to Eptilu. I know, because from small micro enterprise, data is very important. Data visitor is very important for leveraging my business to develop and to continue our business. Almost 25,000 people coming to my farm. This is youth teams. Almost 80 people, 80% staff and team in my farm from youth generation, average 25 years old. So this is my team. And then after I continue study in IPB and I'm go back to my village to become farmer, I doing research and benchmarking in international short course and internship program in IPB University with Ohio State University, and I get placement in Ohio State and get placement in California. I learned about production aspect in University of California Riverside, and I'm doing a group with American Heart, Citrus and Avocado World Congress, and from Service Management in Berkeley University. Join meeting Citrus Variety Commission, focusing doing research, collaborations, trade show about citrus around the world. For logistic, I learned in Davis, University California of Davis. And for marketing, I doing a summer course in Palo Alto in Stanford. Every week I am joining another event in US, like American Heart, Spring Trial in Agriculture, and etc. This is my advisors. Look at that. This is the citrus, the best citrus, mandarin or tangerine in California. That is my benchmarking. Hopefully I can develop in Indonesia. I study, learn more in post harvest management, especially is in polar packing citrus like this. This is the huge technologies for data analysis and post harvest management. Yeah, that is my inspiration after I learned the biggest industry in US, I was learning. The biggest farmers and plantation in US, I was learning. So after I go back to Indonesia, hopefully we can deliver and we can to encourage the farmer in Indonesia to contribute and collaborate together. This is the my purpose to agriculture, farmer regeneration, rural development, and community development. This is the local media, regional media, menciptakan pengusaha pertanian milenial di Garut to encourage the millennial farmer in Garut district. And then I collaborate with cooperation citrus plantation in 6 district, 45 young farmers, around 75 hectares citrus and vegetables. This is for 5 years, from 2020 until 2025. I used the model of youth agro-entrepreneurships, one pesantren, one product for citrus plantation based on agro-industry and agro-tourism for support halal tourism in West Java. I open agriculture learning center like short course for student or a senior high school, like this. Explain how to planting from citrus liner production until plantation, until harvest and post-harvest management. This is social activities I teach, I learn, and in the school, in the prison, in the community youth. In national level, I'm joined to Indonesia Young Farmer Ambassadors, and in national level to based on Minister of Agriculture, I'm become to Millennial Farmer Ambassadors. And last year, I discussed with my president. My president, you are talking about productions, export, import. Please aware for farmer regeneration, for rural development, because that is key point. Such as like Mr. Panji said before, technology without human is very
kita
important.
menggarap pasal kita
Like this. This is my model for youth agro-entrepreneurship for sustainable citrus plantation. This model for capacity for 100 hectare in doing with 100 youth farmers. The first business line for citrus plantations, and then second business line for multiple cropping with gingers, turmeric, and vegetables. So main product is fresh fruit, and location is West Java, Indonesia. This is my model. Of course, we attract with youth community. This is the I talking about local, regional, in international. I try to collaborate with Asian region with 3 agenda. The first is peaceful, and then second is cultural development, and the third about economic improvement. For economic improvement, I focus from agriculture, and agriculture I more deeply talking about farmer regeneration. Something like that. The last year, short course in Beijing, in China, about youth leadership program. At the same time, we talking about agriculture and rural development. In FAO program, we joined to program innovative agribusiness for young entrepreneurs, something like that. And actually, in 2017, I get awarded youth social entrepreneurs. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Rizal. It was very fresh and motivating also, your presentation. The first question from Ahmad Arif Amin. He asked about where is the location of Orange take place in Garut, maybe the exact location of Aptilu farm.
Okay, the exactly location in Jalan Raya Cikajang, kilometer 24, Kabupaten Garut. Maybe you can search in the search engine in the Google Aptilu. I think in the top up there are coming Eptilu. You can search and find the Google Map.
Okay. So location is in Cikajang, maybe 2 hours from Garut Central City.
Only 55 minutes.
Only
Only
55 minutes.
minutes because only exactly kilometer 24. Jadi so kilometer 24 from Garut Center to city of
Okay.
Garut.
Okay, it is motivating. Maybe he wants for me myself it was interesting. Want to visit the orange farm in Garut, and not only orange, yeah, not only orange and
Not only orange.
another fruits. Okay. Another question. The second question is from Aji Rafael Alristo. The question about okay, during your journey as a co-founder of Eptilu, what is the biggest challenge you face, especially when you combine the agricultural and technology? And how do you see Eptilu in the next 10 years? Okay, thank you, Aji, for the question. Maybe, please, Mr. Rizal.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Aji. This is the very challenging question. So the big challenge, I think, to encourage team to struggle doing in startup agricultures. You know, I starting from plantation and then continuous trading and marketing, and then 2017 I'm try to shifting to not shifting but to leverage to agroedutourism. Of course, human resources is the biggest challenge. How to motivate, how to become the same frequency, same the PC to build agricultures. And then if you ask to how your vision to 10 years later, of course, like I say before, in the biggest industry citrus I was learned in America, the biggest plantation citrus, the center of research, university collaboration focusing in research center of citrus I was learned. So of course I have to big vision, I have a big dream for to attract or to become to reality what I have to become to my vision. The very important to I try to collaborate. I try to collaborate, not only for me, not only for circle, but also for another partner. Like before, Mr. Panji talking about Walmart Mango in Food Trust Project. Hopefully, after I presentations, Mr. Panji can hear and can collaborate, focusing in Eptilu citrus to attract and to trial and example for Food Trust Project with IBM focusing in citrus, like that.
Excellent, Pak. It's something possible. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Panji.
Thank you. Yeah. Another question from the third question from Annie. I'm sorry. The third question is from Putri. Dear Mr. Rizal, thank you for your excellent presentation. Putri from SV. How do you start your first venture, and how much you put into it, and what kind of trouble or problems you had in the first place? Again, about challenges when you start your first venture.
Okay. I think I'm doing this business very collaborate with my educational background in IPB University. Maybe some of some of them you are well known about Festival Bunga dan Buah Nusantara.
Yes.
This is the one of the biggest event in IPB University, and me as a founder and founders and the event Festival Bunga and Buah Nusantara, Fruit and Vegetable Festival, Fruit and Flower Festival. So that is to become motivation. I try to open the biggest event in Indonesia, but I still like, oh, I need more practical. I need more the more effective. So I try to, after graduate from Bogor Agriculture University, and I'm doing the business in citrus. The first challenge, like me before, that is human resources, and also to confident level to attract to my team in the local area. That is, not easy 6 years until now. So that is still challenges for us, but for PC I still confident, and I have to optimist to continue, and I'm promise to effort and to become more better and more bigger from now.
Okay, that's the answer for Putri's question. Mr. Rizal, another question. This is the question from Diana. What is the most profitable farming business for you? And maybe you can answer also from question from Dimas. You still have a chance to be an agro entrepreneur below 25 years old, because and how to learn to be that who didn't have any experience in agriculture. Maybe 2 questions for Mr. Rizal.
Okay, the first question, the most profitable, I think the first is trading and market trading. Trading is the most profitable, and the second I get from agrotourism, because not only selling citrus, but also we selling about signatures, culinary, something like that. So that is the good income for help operational costs in my business. So the first is trading, and then second from agrotourism also. And the second question, I forgot. So.
Second question is, you still have a chance to be an agro entrepreneur below 25 years old, and how to learn to be that who didn't have any experience in agriculture.
Yes, I think the opportunity still wide, especially for me in Garut. I'm talking specific in Garut. Me, Eptilu is the pioneer to open agricultures to attract with agrotourism, with culinary. Eptilu as a pioneer, but still another potential if open to agrotourism. And then, like I said before, there are 3K clue or strategic for startup to starting agriculture. The first, excellent best practice. You get good educational from IPB University, good basic educational background. So that is the key opportunity for you. And then second, empowering. We need to empowering not only for me, but also we need empowering youth people. And then second, very important, collaboration pentahelic with government, with university, with social community, with media and others. So excellent best practice, empowering youth people, and collaboration, like that.
Okay, complete answer from Mr. Rizal, and it's still more question from the participant, because okay, the next question is from Ani, and then from ISAT University Leon Campus. The question is regarding your citrus commodities. How did you develop priorities in policy alternative specific in area expansion and disease prevention to improve your citrus production?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That's all the question.
Okay. Regarding the priority now, after I learn more deeply from production, from marketing, and from tourism, now by vision and collaborate with a local farmer, I focus agro industry because there are two main business. The first is plantation sectors, and then second, post-harvest management for food industry. We try to differentiate product, not only I am selling by fresh citrus, but also with the food from citrus, like processing, like syrup, like lemon waters, like citrus puree, and something like that. So like I saw before 70 months ago, 2018, I learned in Thailand, I learned in Taiwan, a lot of variant product, differentiate product, not only selling fresh, but also that there are processing food from citrus. So target from now to leveraging with collaborate with youth and local champion citrus in Garut area for production aspect and food processing. Because the biggest challenge in the citrus, like a peak harvest, lot of the price is low, so the solution is food processing.
Okay, the solution is food processing, like you mentioned before, orange juice, maybe, yeah.
Right, something like that.
Puree. Okay.
And also collaborate with Mr. Panji.
Collaborate with Mr. Panji. The question about agrotourism, it is from Julfikar Muhammad Abdul Razak, about agrotourism, how to make it work again in this pandemic time.
Okay, the biggest question, the good question, the pandemic era. Of course, we have to follow the government regulation. So in the March until June, we stop for agrotourism. We stop agrotourism because we follow the rule government officials. But if we see another opportunity, the demand of the citrus increasing 20%. 20% the demand for citrus increasing. Not only Garut, not only Indonesia, but in the global data. I get the data from Nelson, and I'm very agree with this situation, because in local area the demand citrus in the higher and the increasing, like for immune buster, for vitamin C, something like that. So the for especially maybe for another farmer it's the bad condition, but for citrus farmer it's the good condition in pandemic era. So that is there are positive and there are negative, but I try to doing the positive era. I try to contribute to become distribution lemon water to almost 10,000 per week in the hospital in Garut area to center. But FTLU not producing directly, but also collaborate with local enterprise to distribute, because FTLU we have a brand, we have to marketing, we have to networking. So we encourage local small, medium with this condition. There are positive, there are negative, but I try to positive to continue to attract with demand for citrus. And until now, we predict until now the demand of citrus still higher.
Okay, so 3 months from March until June, maybe close the farm for agrotourism, but another demand from citrus, 28%, it increased 28%, yeah.
Right.
Okay, maybe one more question. It is from Friska. A question about fruit quality and vegetable quality. How to maintain the quality of fruit and vegetables in order to always get the best quality from seller to customer. Thank you, Mr. Rizal. Okay.
Yes, I think this is the process. The first process, the very important how to my team, especially in my QC, to discipline to attract with the standard. So the solution, we choose a different market from a traditional market. We make like this condition, and another for modern market we make like another quality. So we calculate and we separate market for what, for doing my product every quality to grab and to deliver to customers. So that is the solution. So if you're talking about the quality product, of course we still talking, we still learning, we still uh, uh, maintenance how to make attract to best quality for customer. But for now we doing separate product to traditional market and modern market.
Okay, separate product from traditional
Market segment.
market segment.
We try to market segment based on their quality and their price, their ability to buy this product. But for agrotourism, it no matter how, because they coming and they pick directly. So the customer, they pick for their self to choose another fruit in the farm. So it no problem for tourism sector.
Okay, okay, thank you, Mr. Riza. Maybe it was the last question, not the last question that you answered, but it's in the chat column is still 1, 2, 3, 4, many questions, but we have limitation in time in discussion. Okay, thank you for all the participants and thank you for all the participants for the question. And this is the end of the session of discussion. I would like to highlight some points from today's discussion. From the first presentation and from both presentation. Okay, agriculture is a huge business in Indonesia, and technology, it should be not a problem anymore, because we see that the IBM was developed so many technology to support the agriculture. And from the second, from the Mr. Rizal presentation, it was a three clue for a good basic educational and empowering youth, and don't forget to collaborate with another sector, with the government, with the supplier, with the third party. And okay, very well. This is the end of the session. I would like to thank you to Mr. Panji Wasmana and also Mr. Rizal Fahreza. That was very interesting and very inspiring for us for our today's webinar. And also I want to thank to everyone, to participant for attending today's webinar and for your active participation. Maybe this is the end. Have a great day. Stay safe and keep healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, I will return to Master of Ceremony, Mr. Faris, for the next agenda.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Anissa Kartinawati, as the moderator for this afternoon webinar. We also would like to kindly inform to all of the participants that material of today's lecture and link for e-certificates are available at the links that have been shared on the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, prestigious academic people, we have reached the end of the event. Thank you very much for Rector of IPB University for the opening speech, Dean of College of Vocational Studies for the welcoming speech, and of course, thank you very much for the audiences for your participation and cooperations at today's webinar. Smart Agro-Industry 4.0 in the tropical countries. High appreciation to the speakers, all of the participants from universities, other institutions, and companies from Indonesia and international partners, university. And we're really delighted to have you all today and really hope to see you all again on the next webinar series of SV-IPB, College of Vocational Studies, IPB University. Don't forget to follow and subscribe the SV-IPB YouTube channel to be informed for the next webinar series. Once again, thank you very much, as this event have been supported by Directorate of Partnership and Alignment of Business and Industry, Ministry of Education and Culture, Indonesia. Of course, big appreciation also to all of the committee for the hard work. On behalf of steering committee, me, Farisam Kurniawan, as the master of ceremony, will close and end this afternoon webinar. Thank you. See you again next time in another opportunities. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian. Kampus terbaik, integritas, kuatkan tujuan. Kampus terbaik, beri terbaik untuk negeri, untuk dunia. dunia, umat manusia dan alam semesta. Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Terus berpacu dalam keunggulan, lincah pembelajar untuk kehidupan. Inilah semangat baru, tekad raih kesempatan, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya.
Ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah.
Mari bersama hadirkan masa depan dalam langkah dan pikiran agar selalu terdepan, berbekal ilmu dan jiwa pengabdian. Deras arus zaman takkan tertahan, majulah melangkah, oh majulah. Wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya, wujudkan kampus terbaik selamanya. Kampus terbaik, inspirasi, tebarkan harapan. Kampus terbaik, inovasi, wujudkan impian.
Masa ini untuk menempa diri, raihlah ilmu dan jiwa pengabdi, siapkan diri untuk membangun negeri.
Keemasan masa ini lewati bersama, karya gemilang, kaya prestasi. Tuhan tunjukkan padaku langkah untuk maju, untuk mengukir sejarah baru. Mahasiswa, masa yang indah, berjuta kenangan dan cerita, bertabur impian dan harapan. Masa ini untuk menempah diri, raihlah ilmu dan jiwa pengabdi, siapkan diri untuk membangun negeri. Kemasan masa ini lewati bersama, karya gemilang, kaya prestasi. Tuhan tunjukkan padaku langkah untuk maju, untuk mengukir, untuk kemasan masa ini lewati bersama, karya gemilang, kaya prestasi. Tuhan tunjukkan padaku langkah untuk maju, untuk mengukir, untuk mengukir sejarah baru. Mahasiswa, masa yang indah.
masukin kulkas, nanti papa bisa kalau mau masak pakai mie, ya kan? Kalau mau pakai mie, pakai goreng. Angin. Lagi pas angin.
Ada bayi. Bunda nggak kelihatan, Bun.
Oke, sekarang kita lanjut unboxing yang iPhone ini udah idam banget kayaknya sama iPhone. Kita sekarang unboxing Apple Watch SE. Di sini
Ada bayi.
Ya memang kotaknya kayak gini yang ada fiturnya gini atau memang karena
Kok baju dede? Pak dede kayak gitu.
Di belakang aja yang baru cetak beda. Di sini ada tulisan Apple, tidak ada nomor tulis.